Hello. Hi. I'll just go into everything. Hey, I thought I would do this today. I was going to put like an episode together, and I thought, you know what? The thing I find with sometimes when I put episodes together on things like this, that number one, sometimes people don't see it. Hi, Firefly. Um, uh, and I figure, well, if I'm doing it live, like just sort of throwing ideas out there and talking to you guys about things, you can ask me questions as well. And in fact, some of you may even know stuff that I don't, so it's all good. Hello, Jonathan. I keep missing your lives. And I need to, we need to set something up too, Mister. When you're not in your vehicle. Hey, Kibba, I'm doing really well. I've got this on because I still don't want anyone to see my scar. It's healing well though, so it's all good. So I'll natter on for a couple of minutes and allow people to come in if they're around before I start talking about stuff. Then that way I don't sort of, have to repeat myself later. And for anyone interested on Thursday night, yes, Rawside Paranormal is going to do a little live stream with me as well. Not sure what we'll really talk about, just stuff, just stuff in general. Hi, Jennifer. But yeah, I found lately, of course, if anybody's been keeping an eye on Joe Vitale, and everything that's going on with the Hill House, the haunted Hill House. Yes, girl talk. That would be a good thing. Then and if anyone watches my show, or channel, whatever, that I'm always putting things together that are touching on actual research facts about a haunted location. So I'm pretty sure sometimes I don't have very many people that maybe own these homes or stuff. I'm probably not someone they even watch, hopefully, so I don't get sued. But that was my other thought too. I've noted that quite a few of these places that have tall stories associated to the houses are quite happy to throw around the word legal action, or I'm going to sue you, or I'm going to take legal action against you, or a lot of them say that, and I sort of, I kind of don't really understand how they could even have a leg to stand on if by researching a home I can find information to either prove or disprove a story, right? So if I can research and find proof that a story they're telling is not true, what are they trying to sue for? Like, why would they? Is it because once the truth gets out there, people will go, oh, geez, I pay a fortune to investigate that place, and what they're telling me is not even true. Maybe the tables could be turned. People could say, hey, you told me this was the truth, and I paid you a lot of money. I want my money back. I'd be tempted to say that, to be honest. Now, I just saw little Maisie Rose. Maisie, do you realise how worried people have been about you, young lady? I know you're not well, but in future, you let me know that you're not well. There's nothing wrong, okay? Cheeky, bloody Scottish lass. I'm glad to see you here, though. I just sent you an email, actually, so your ears must have been burning. Hi, Dee. And yeah, Joe, poor old Joe. But Joe's found out some interesting stuff. I'm not going to spoil it for him, but in regard to that Hill House, it's exciting. So he's actually got some good proof happening, and I'm excited for everybody to see that. Rawside says, exactly, all the investigating teams should get together and demand a refund. I think so. Oh, well, partial. I mean, you have technically been there, but some kind of, in my opinion, firstly, I guess, oh, hello, Crow. Crow's other channel, check it out. That's where he's going to start putting stuff that's not necessarily his norm. Oh, I've got to play something. Since it's Crow, hang on. Since it's Crow, thank you, Crow.
No, please!
Oh, thank you, Joe. I mean, Crow, Joe. Crow, I'm reading Joe's comment and saying thank you to you, Crow. Yeah, see, Maisie, everybody's been worrying about you. And Crow, you're not where I am. You can come and say hi. Yeah, check out Crow's other channel. I don't think he's got much on it yet, have you, Crow? Because he's just sort of starting. Oh, yes, now with the excuses. No. Oh, did you? Okay. Thank you, Maisie. Now, what was I saying before Crow threw some money at me? Thank you, Crow. I've forgotten now. I was on a roll too. It's your fault, Crow. But yeah, look, it's that's what I was going to say. Yeah. So yes, you do go to these haunted locations. Sometimes, yeah. Personally, like sometimes I haven't had actually time to do a deep dive and research a place before I've gone there. So I've gone there, listened to what they've told me, investigated accordingly, but then gone deep diving into it later. So I tend to think I'll listen to what you're telling me, but that's about it. I'll listen. And if anything happens to support what I've been told, then great. Unfortunately for me, nothing's ever happened really, ever to me apart from, yes, my singing ghost, but as I've already said, I can't be 100% positive it wasn't possibly Cassie and she just didn't realise. So anything like that, I haven't seen a ghost, I haven't been scratched, I haven't been scared, I haven't been, and I've been to some of these places just me by myself. So I don't know. I live in hope. I was saying I actually chatted to Kenny Biddle just a little while ago. I was asking him a question about something else. And I said, I'm slowly starting to turn into a skeptic. Although I do believe, I just don't know what it is I believe in. I've just got to, it's a journey, isn't it? I think everybody's the same. We're all watching this stuff and we all want answers because we all know we're going to die and we're all going to go somewhere and we all want to know, well, where are we going? But I don't reckon we're going to know until we drop dead, guys. Hey, Bud Files. If I get croaky, my apologies. I still do get a bit croaky after a little while. It's settling down though. Giselle. Hello, Giselle. It is a journey in the but anyway, I was thinking about it. Why do these places do this? Why? Well, the obvious answer is money. It's all about money. And I had a look. I was actually watching something else, and I had a look at the Amityville thing. And I don't know if all of you know clearly my opinion on the Warrens, for example. I'm pretty sure you all know who the Warrens are. I'll just put their lovely little faces up for you. Where are they? I've got a picture of them somewhere. There they are. There they are. There's the Warrens. Yes, Ed and Lorraine Warren. And of course, I don't like to speak ill of the dead, but I will. I've put links in the description. So when this is finished, if you want to go and click on any of the links, feel free to do so. There's so much information out there. But I thought I'd have a bit of a hi, Heather. Heather's unwell. Everybody, wish her well. Hopefully, her antibiotics have kicked in. So I have put a link to most of everything because I've got a book and I've been reading. Most of everything I've sort of been looking at the last week or so in regard to a lot of the places that the Warrens were involved with. Yes, I think they were the best charlatans on the planet. Nothing they did is truthful in my eye. But with sympathy to Lorraine, she was married to not a very nice fellow, and possibly, who knows, back in the day, who knows what kind of duress she was under to perform. And then again, maybe not. Maybe she liked the notoriety and the money as well. But I was looking at Amityville because I know that the people that live there now aren't too impressed when people come driving past the house. I know people that lived there in the past were also the same. Like the only odd thing that ever happens at their house is the fact that people drive past to take photos. And I sort of think when you look at what happened with that house, so before, for example, Amityville, before the DeFeo family lived there, there was another family lived there. They're the ones that built it. They lived there happily ever after. They sold it to the DeFeos. The DeFeos were there for 9 years before their son. If you don't, actually, I'll show you a picture of the DeFeos. Oh, sorry, I've got my little clicky thing on. Oh, maybe I will lose my voice, guys. Hang on, let me have a look. Where are they? There's the DeFeos. Oh, that's not very big for you, is it? Let's make it bigger. It'll probably go blurry. There they are. So that's the DeFeo family. Look at that gorgeous little boy. So that's the DeFeo family, and they lived there for 9 years before their horrible son decided to go on a rampage and kill them. And I've got, that's the Lutzes. We'll talk about them later. There he is after he got arrested. But yeah, so the story with that house, honestly, is that a tragedy happened there. The son was just obviously mental. He was a known drug addict. He'd taken drugs, etc. And if you want to look into the actual murder itself, that's more true crime, I guess. But there's plenty on the actual case, not anything to do with the haunting, just the case that you can find. So, that's one a-hole who, for whatever reason, decided to murder his family, go to work, and then set up that it looked like, I got home from work and the family's dead. He rotted in jail anyway. When did he die? March 12th, 2021. He passed away. But that's leading me back. I do need some honey, don't I? Wait a minute. I'll have a sip of my coffee. So anyway, getting back to the Amityville horror and why people do what they do, the reason that whole thing, from my opinion, the reason that whole thing started, DeFeo admitted to killing his family, right? There was no ifs, buts, or maybes. Yes, I did. I heard voices, or whatever. In the end, his lawyer, and I'll give you his name because I've looked into it. What's your name? William Weber. Okay. The defense that they were going to use was insanity, because he was going to say he heard voices, and that's what made him do it. Okay. And at some point, Weber met with George and Kathy Lutz over wine, probably cheese, and came up with this story. Now, the house was on the market, and it said that George and Kathy Lutz purchased the home. They may well have, I don't know, but the house was on the market. They moved in. They were only there for not even a month, 28 days before they moved out. They never made one repayment on the house, and it said that's because they never had any money to begin with. So the house, they never made a payment on the house, ever. And the meeting with the lawyer and Kathy and George Lutz was discussing a story that they could come up with. There was some deal brokered. So you stay in the house, you come up with this fantastical story that can support the story, like maybe add some truth to what my client's saying, that the voices, he heard voices, and maybe we can make this work for my client, and there's financial gain in it for you, because we can also write a book. And then they sat there with the person who wrote the book and came up with all these fantastical stories. That's the basis. It's probably a little bit more factual than that, but that's the basis. So they moved into the house. The priest that came to the house, now what was his name? And I've got his name somewhere. Yes, I do. Where are you, Mister? I'm singing while I'm looking. Why have I lost it? I have. Oh, anyway, I'll find it later. But they did speak to the priest. Now, the priest, that's even interesting. So the priest initially said, yes, I did go to the house. No, his first story was, I never went to the house. I just spoke to George over the phone and gave him some advice. The second story was, yes, I did go to the house and I blessed the house and nothing happened. And then years later, he did some kind of interview and they spoke with him, and he said that he walked in, got slapped, and got told to get out. I haven't had a chance to find that interview because it's a video interview, I believe. So I'm wondering, if it is a video interview, those of you who are unfamiliar with how to edit something and make it look like someone said something they didn't, is it possible that they interviewed him and asked the question, so what is it people say happened to you? And he may have answered, oh, well, I walked in, got slapped, and the voices told me to get out. Chop, clip, clop, edit, and that makes it look like he's admitting to that's what's happened. So who knows? Hello, Taylor. Yes, do listen because I talk a lot, Julie. So yeah, so the whole book thing, the whole staying in the Amity house, the demons, etc., hoax. There's no other word for it. It's all bullshit. It never happened. That yes, they may have moved into the house for 28 days, never made a repayment on the bloody thing, had no money to their name. So how the hell did they even get a loan for it in the first place? And then later on, I saw that George Lutz himself tried to take all of let me see, I'll name who he took. 1977, okay, he filed a lawsuit. This is George and Kathy, right? Filed a lawsuit against the lawyer, Paul Hoffman, who was the writer of the book. There were two clairvoyants, Bernard Burton and Frederick Mars, that went to the house. They also alleged that they told fibs or something. Anyway, they wanted for duress and they wanted to sue because they were upset by the whole thing and being called names, etc. Anyway, it was thrown out, and the lawyer, Weber, here's his quote, all right? William Weber wrote for the 1979 issue of People magazine, I know this book is a hoax. We created this horror story over many bottles of wine. So that refers to the meeting that Weber had with George and Kathy Lutz, during which they discussed the outline of Anson's book. And then Judge Weinstein also expressed at the case that there is a very serious ethical question when lawyers become literary agents. So, in my opinion, fake, right? And that leads me to, again, why it's important that people research when they go these places. So look at the money that has been made off the back of a dead family. And you know my pet hate. You know it when a family who, when you look at the picture of them, let me let you see their little faces again. Where are you? There they are. So you look at this picture of them, a happy family otherwise. And you can only guess at what perhaps the family went through with a son like this. You know, obviously coming to dad asking for money, probably, and apparently, I think that is somewhere in the storyline that is possibly the reason he went off the deep end like he did, because mum and dad have put their hands up and said, "We've had enough." Anyone who has been involved with someone, a family member or a friend that has been addicted to heroin and other drugs like that, it is. It's very hard to deal with, especially when it's a family member, a child that you love, and you're seeing them destroy themselves. At some point, you have to say no in order to help them. So obviously, this is just me wondering if it was the cause. Either way, look at that family, all gone. Oh, well, let's not too care much about the boy who took his family's lives, but mum, dad, his 4 siblings, all gone. And in order for this Lutz family and the lawyer and other people to make money, they've made up. There is one movie out there, I have seen it, but it was many, many years ago, and it may well be the first Amityville horror movie. I just recall that it was insinuated within that movie that the brother had some kind of incestual relationship with his older sister. And I remember being horrified at that, thinking, ew. And now as an adult, I think this poor family, not here to defend themselves or let us know what actually happened. They're gone. And yes, they did die in that house. And who knows? Maybe sometimes something could happen there. But according to the people who live there now, nothing happens. The house is normal. And that's a great thing, because that tells me that these poor people, if there is somewhere we go later, they've gone. They're not in a house where their lives were taken. So I really get annoyed at people who make up stories about people that are no longer here to defend themselves, and forget that they were humans that had lives and should still be alive. Grandmas, grandpas, all that sort of thing. They should still be here. Their lives shouldn't have been cut short by a maniac. And people that shouldn't have happened. The Lutz family shouldn't have been able to go into that house and make up this BS story. I can understand Hollywood making a movie about it, because that's what Hollywood does best. But it's just, yeah, it's just horrible. Giselle, I wonder if it's so hard for us to imagine such evil. It's easier to pin it on the supernatural. The public can't make sense of it. Probably, Giselle. But it's just that. And look, Taylor's in here. I know Taylor's possibly listening to me gabble away, and Joe might be listening as well. The thing is, in Virginia City, for example, you all know my love for Virginia City, and I will get back there when I'm better. Virginia City is awesome, and all these awesome houses and homes and stuff. And there's definitely a feeling to the town when you go in. And I don't know what that is, but you're drawn, some people, not all, but I am in particular drawn to the town and the people. And there are buildings there. Now, I've been to the Washoe, you know that. I've been to the Washoe. I've listened to the people tell the stories there, for example, about this one died, that one died, prostitutes, X, this, Y, and Z. And I actually watched an episode, the Osborne boy, can't think of his first name at the minute, but him, went to the Washoe Club. And on their way driving there, they're reading the background. It said 10 people died in an explosion at the Washoe Club. No, they didn't. I'm like, who's doing their research? There was an explosion down the road where some people were killed. Had nothing to do with the Washoe. But my point is, get your facts right. And remember that people did die. For example, people did die in the Washoe Club. One man just died of old age. Another man did take his own life. And they did, and remember them with respect. And you see people go into these places and they go, oh, there's a demon and there's red eyes. And there's this. I wonder sometimes what drugs people are on, quite honestly. But anyway, thank you, Dee. Yes, Jack. Now, again, I'm not saying anything against, say, a Jack Osborne or someone like that. They don't do the research. They pay someone to. So whoever they're paying, I wish they'd pay me, because I think I'd do better research. Because they're never right. They're never right. Even when you watch something, and Taylor, if she's listening, will know what I'm referring to, Sutro Tunnel, The Ghost Adventures. Very excited that they put an episode out and drew attention to the Sutro Tunnel, because the Sutro Tunnel is awesome. But there you go again. Incorrect data. They got good data given to them and a history given to them by the person who showed them around. But their researchers pulled out all sorts of stuff out of their hat that wasn't close to true. So it's very interesting. It's what makes money. And I think that's why people do what they do. This is why they do what they do. Hello, whore. Whore. It's still horror. I'll say horror instead of whore. But yeah, so, and as I say, Joe is currently coming up against a backlash from a particular house in, where is it? Mineral Wells, where they're kind of insinuating, you go ahead with this and we might be tempted to sue. And I've researched that place, and I can tell you now, I didn't sign any disclosure form or anything. I've never been to that part of America. I've never seen a form to sign that says I can't say anything. Hi, Pocket Watch. I haven't signed a paper. I've just researched the house. I was given an address and asked to research it and what can I come up with in regard to murders, deaths, people who lived there, who built it, etc. And I did all that. I gave Joe what I found. And, surprise, surprise, most of what they tell people is, I I think there's probably only two things they've gotten correct, and even that's not quite right. But they charge people a fortune to look through the house. Fine, whatever, if you want to pay the money to go and look through it. But again, definitely two little old ladies died in that house that Joe and the others investigated. 100%. Two little old ladies, bless their cotton socks. One of old age, and the other one, she was old too, but she caught the flu and it took her out. The lady who died in there, the last one. So there was Fanny, she died there, and then there was Deborah, her sister-in-law, I want to say, or was it sister? I can't remember now. But anyway, they both died there. Throughout the world, there are houses that have stood for over 100 years that people have 100% died in. It was the done thing back in those days. You would die in your home and get laid out in your home. It's really only been, maybe the 50s, 60s, where people so much weren't laid out at home, they would be taken to the funeral parlour. But most of the time, just laid out at home. Hello, Bad to the Bone. G'day. I think as a paranormal investigator, don't go with there was a murder in the bathroom, or a demon pushed me down the stairs, I got scratched, I got this, I got that. The red room at the Amityville house, it's a closet. Woohoo! It's a closet. Don't go to these places and listen to what you're told, but with a grain of salt. If you've got time to do a deep dive research of the property before you go there, do it. And then that way you've got the correct names, all the correct information, rather than go there and listen to what you're told. And I just wish that the people that own these places didn't charge all that money, even though they can. Obviously, they want to pay their mortgage, or, Then you've got other people who write books about their houses. Oh, I was terrified in my house. Now I'll charge you X amount of dollars to buy my book. Oh, and X amount of dollars to investigate my property. But you must sign this piece of paper first, and I will watch you through cameras to make sure you don't say anything you shouldn't. And so to me, that's money making. If I owned a house and I thought it was truly haunted, would I charge people to come investigate it? Honestly, no, because if I could I'd be picky. I wouldn't let every Tom, Dick and Harry. I'd probably maybe be picky and choosy as to who I might get in with all their equipment and however they might investigate and see if they can tell me, was it the lady who passed here? Am I imagining it? What do you think? I don't think I really don't. I could be wrong. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll own a haunted house and think, oh, shit, I can't afford the mortgage payment this week. I will ask for some money. But not like these people do. They don't even live in the houses that they, get you to look at. And it's all about money. And the minute you open your mouth to say, hey, or question it, you're threatened with being sued. You're threatened with legal action. And I find that absolutely disgusting. So, yeah, I'm on a bit of a rant now, and I should have put up a Karen rant. But I just guess I wanted to explain why it is so important that if you're going to find evidence of a haunting, if indeed there are any such thing as a ghost, how the hell do we know that's even the thing? We don't know. But if we're going into a place and not researching the place, and we're not finding out the truth about it, then the evidence we find, we can't support it. If you go into a place that's got lots of cameras around, I discussed this the other day with Joe. If you go into a place that's got cameras, most of them do. Most places, when I went to Octagon Hall, for example, absolutely, they've got security cameras, and they should, because they've got a lot of historical artifacts in the house. It would be very easy for someone to, if they were that way inclined, to either break something or steal something. So they've got cameras they don't sit there and watch you while you're investigating. They've got the cameras there. If they note anything's out of place after you leave, then they can review, and that's all they do. So I understand the need for security cameras, but not the need for people to sit there and watch what you're doing while you're in the house that you've just paid up to and over $500 to investigate. If they're that worried, then they should stay there with you. Hi, Ria. Sorry, I'll just. Yes, thank you. I'm back. I'm still a bit croaky, but I'm doing good. Yeah, I just think I don't know why other people in the paranormal do what they do. Joe, it's because he's looking for answers. Me, it's because I'm looking for answers. And if you all know me, and most of you do here because I see very familiar names, you know about Stephen. That's him there in the picture. There's my boy. So yes, just because of an incident that happened the night that he passed away, and I wasn't aware that he had gone, but something weird happened. I can't explain what that weird was, but it happened. And then the next day I found out he had died. That's why I do what I do. And when I go into these places, I'm reminded by my son that these dead people were once living like he was, had their life ahead of them, or they had a life behind them that they've now left. And what is it about the dead that we should all of a sudden stop respecting when we're in a home where they lived or whatnot? And I just think if we're going to get answers to where we go when we pass, if we're going to get answers as to are there such things as ghosts, we need to know the link and the truth between where we're investigating and the other side. So what's the common link? So if I was, for example, to go to that house that Joe and the others went to, I can see that absolutely 100% a lady named Fanny and a lady named Deborah passed away in the house. 100% they did. So what would I do? I'd probably go into that house and wonder what rooms they were sleeping in when that occurred, because they would have been crook for a little while, especially poor Deborah. She had the flu, so she would have been laid up in bed ill before she passed. The way I do it is I speak out loudly and introduce myself and have a bit of a natter. And then I'd think about it and I'd think, well, what, if anything, would I pick up if the ladies were still there, and why would they still be there? So all these things are important, I believe. So that is where homeowners and people who make up stories about haunted locations should be, number one, ashamed of themselves, because there's no respect for the dead at all in what they do. Number two, examine why they think it's okay to make money from the deaths of the people that lived in a house that they now own. Even in the case of, no worries, Pocket Watch. I hope I'm not boring everybody with my rant. Even in the case of that Hill House, for example, names for that are mentioned, and the names, there's a doctor's name mentioned, for example. Now, that man never lived in the house. He attended the house when the two ladies passed away, as he was the doctor who wrote out their death certificates and pronounced them dead. And he was a relative, but he never lived in the house. But he's painted as somebody who terminated pregnancies. And I think, oh my God, where are these people's families? Because if that were my great-grandpa, that someone was saying did those things, or I tell you what, the owners of the house would be in a lot of trouble. Unless they had proof, something I was not aware of as a relative, who wants their family's names tarnished in that way? So that's the other thing homeowners need to be very, very aware of. Careful who you're talking about, because just because they're gone, their family's not. I am amazed, actually, that more families don't kick up a stink about these things. I'm going to talk about it another time, but I was looking at the Conjuring House, the Harrisville hauntings. I've been listening to, because I was looking at the Warrens, okay? And the Warrens were involved in that one. The Warrens were involved in Amityville. The Warrens were involved in the story of Annabelle the doll. For those of you who don't know, the Annabelle, I actually watched it. I found the Twilight Zone episode that they used to come up with the story of Annabelle. I think it's called, just a minute, I'll tell you. I downloaded a bit, but if I play it here, you can find it on YouTube. I downloaded it so I could watch it. Wherever I put it, there it is. It's called Living Doll, right? And so I was looking into all of the Warren cases, and look, if anybody believes anything the Warrens did, I feel badly for you, and I hate to burst your bubble, but wow, shysters. And I can understand why that Perrin fellow punched Ed in the face. And I wonder sometimes too what was happening there in the Perrin family, because I believe it's Andrea that talks about it now and has written the books. So she was the daughter. But one wonders going back, I would love to have been a fly on the wall when these things were supposedly being occurring in the home in front of the children to the mother, and wonder, was she maybe not well, and how easily children can be manipulated into thinking that they've seen things they haven't. So without being the fly on the wall, you don't know what really happened there. But do I believe that story? I don't. Personal opinion, I don't, given that everyone who lived in the house previous never had anything happen, and people that lived in it after they did never had anything happen. Strange things, yes, according to one lady called Norma, some strange things did occur, but she sort of put them down to normal things to do with the house, the house moving, shrinking, etc., whatever. And I'm currently listening to her interview, or not an interview, her putting her point across. Now, she lived in the house for 26 years. So this is what I mean. You look at all these stories, but money, millions, has been made by these people making up these stories. So it's I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. There goes my throat. So I'll shut up for a second because I think I'm still making sense. Has anyone got a question about anything at all? And I put a link to Kenny Biddle's episode on Amityville in the link below. I think I mentioned that before. A book on the Warrens that I've been reading. There's a few different links to different. I should have put. I will. I'll find that. I'll do it later when I get off. I'll put the link to the Annabelle doll story for you. But in the Twilight Zone episode, it's all about a doll that's purchased for the daughter. The mother's name in the episode is Annabelle. Right, so Annabelle goes and buys a doll called the Living Doll, or I think the doll does say her name in it. It's not Annabelle, but the Living Doll, and it's Telly Savalas from Kojak. Hi, Kathy. Telly Savalas from Kojak plays the father. So the doll comes home, and I think he's a stepdad because he says, "I'm not your father," or something like that. Anyway, he doesn't like the doll because Annabelle has spent money on this doll, and he's strictly said no dolls for the daughter. So the doll talks to him when no one else can hear and says, "I don't like you, and I wouldn't do that," like he said. And then he takes the doll down, tries to cut its head off, and its head won't cut off. And he's, at the end of it, spoiler alert, something happens to the father because the doll can move around on its own and do all that sort of thing. So the doll is basically pretending to be a really nice doll, but all the time it's a really nasty doll ready to kill everybody. Well, at least the father. Yeah, it's really good, Giselle. So if you find it, the episode is called Twilight Zone Living Doll, but I'll put a link in the bottom. So when you watch that and then you realise the story of Annabelle and the fact that it was the mediumship of Lorraine Warren that filled in all the blanks, come on, people. It's not real. It's not true. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that not everything that is told to you by the owners of properties is true. Because if they stuck to the truth, it would probably be slightly boring, And Joe will tell you, as will any other paranormal investigator. Ask Beardo, ask anyone who's been out to investigate. It is friggin' boring. If something happens, well, as I say, nothing's ever happened while I've been out investigating. Things happen, but it's generally like, what was that? And then you realise, oh, it's the wind blowing or, whatever. And you have a bit of a giggle. It can be fun investigating if you're with someone else. It can be still completely boring because you've got to sit there. And if you've watched Joe's stuff, you'll know that you have to sit there and be very, very quiet, which leads you to fall or want to fall asleep, which I have nodded off on occasion. Even ask Heather. Heather will tell you. She came out with me. We investigated a hotel together. We fell asleep. We were meant to go live that night, weren't we, Heather? Meant to go live from the hotel and talk to everybody. And we fell asleep. Missed our live. Yes, I prefer to investigate by myself too, Heather. It's sometimes fun to be with someone else because it's fun. But if you're with someone else, there's always that, oh, was that them? Or what did we both, was that, I don't know, but it is more fun. Yes, investigating is boring. And I think, all the shows that you watch that do the clickbait, like, I was scratched by a demon and, devil eyes or red eyes or, that's exactly what it's there for, because you'll click on it. If I put a video up tomorrow and say, I visited a pretty old house that was built in the 1800s, come see what I discovered on my nighttime tour of the home, no one would click on that. But if I did a scary face and put, I think I saw a demon and it pushed me down the stairs, boom, 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 everyone would click on, which is sad. Whereas, but that's, Oh, I know you'd watched Giselle. That's true. That's true. I mean, people now know what I do. So sometimes I'll put up a thing, like I'll do a scary face or something. Go, oh, what's that? But I don't know. Everything I've investigated, been there on a personal basis, everywhere. Nothing's happened. Nothing. Which really pisses me off, because I think at least out of one of the places I've been, surely, law of average, something should have happened. And I mean, I've been to the supposedly most haunted places in the world, Washoe Club, the Mackey Mansion, what's the other one? Oh God, I've gone blank. Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Where else have I been? I've been to a lot of places here. Now, the only thing I will say is there's places that I've been to because of the history of the place, you're in awe. So Waverly Hills Sanatorium, because that to me is such an iconic place, from Ghost Hunters or Taps through to Ghost Adventures through to just other people I know having gone there. I was like, oh, wow, plus the history of the place. But did I find it scary? No. Everyone else seemed, I don't recall Jason being scared. I can't remember, but it wasn't scary. It was just big and cold and windy and noisy because of the wind on the tarps. It'd be great if they had windows there instead of tarps. Yes, Heather does have a channel. Heather, put your link up, kiddo. Heather does some great work, guys. But yeah, so I don't know. And I've just been hearing people talk about this stuff lately, like seeing Joe talk about it, and just the disappointment that you get when you are honestly just trying to get some facts together so that when you review your episode or your evidence, you might hear something or see something and think, oh, shit, that fits in with that story we were told. Or when you go to a place, the Sally House, for example, you all know how I feel about that. I bang on about the Sally House all the time. There was never a Sally. And I'm told that now, apparently, when you go in, they do say that the Sally thing is just a story. But I can tell you now, when Sam and Colby, for example, did their episode, the people that let them in didn't say it was just a story. The people that let them in said it was truthful. So it must only be over maybe the last couple of years that they've changed their stance on what they tell people, or it may depend upon who shows you through, possibly, because the lady that showed Sam and Colby through on their episode stated that she had seen Sally. So, it does my head in. I just think, if you get to go to the Sally house, think about the people who lived and died there that are substantiated. And yes, my dog's snoring in the background if you can hear her. Think about that and then hit it in that direction, because if there's any hauntings there, it may well be one of the very many people who passed away naturally in the home. And there would be reason for them to be attached to the home too, because they absolutely loved it and it was a loving family. So that's what I'm saying. If you're going to try to get to find some evidence of life after death, which is primarily what you're looking at, really, muffin, really, that's what you're looking for. You know someone died in the house. The house is said to be haunted. I might have to kick her. The house is said to be haunted. So one would think, well, who would haunt the house? Why would they haunt the house? Okay, so-and-so died in it. She loved her garden. She loved this. She loved that. Let's focus on that. And then you would hope to hear her voice or some kind of something. And then you could go, well, okay, so it is possible that Mary died in this house and she's on the other side, but she can come back and forth to visit the house that she loved. That's what we're looking for. But we're not going to find it if we're being told false narratives and bullshit stories just so people can write books. Sally House, that was another one. They weren't there for long either. I think they were in the house for, I'd have to look at my notes and go by my memory, but not long. I think they were only in the house for about a month and a half before they moved out. But then, Sally, the demon, blah, 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 book. They wrote a book and now they still tour, apparently, I think. I don't know. So, you can't say that people didn't have these experiences because you don't know what might be wrong upstairs. For them, the experiences might have been very real, but what caused the experience? Was it truthfully something from the other side, or was it something to do with their mental state, emotional state? That's my argument. But anyway. Is my microphone giving people trouble? Could be. I don't know. Let me know if it is. Thanks, Heather. Oh, no. That's Muffin snoring. Is that what you can hear? It's Muffin, the dog. She's quiet now. So is that noise gone? She can be a demon sometimes. Yeah, it is Muffin. I just kicked her, so she shut up again. She's awake now. She's got to go to the vet this afternoon. She's going to the vet. So, yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yes, it is her. And the little one, I better put in, let's look at his, oh, no, not again face. And Enzo's not here to do the ding for the taco dog. He's not the one snoring, by the way. It's the Roddy on the floor. Yes, she's going to get her nails done this afternoon. So she's having a pedicure this arvo. I don't know. Has much of what I've said made sense? Has anyone got any questions about the Amityville house or anything like that? Because I did do a deep dive into it, but I just sort of thought I don't really want to do an episode on it because if you really want to see a good episode on it, do go to the link. Kenny Biddle put a thing out. There was Kenny talks about it too because I looked at it and then I saw Kenny's just a second. I saw Kenny's episode and I went, oh, Kenny, you were thinking along the same lines as me. Hang on, where is it? I've got a photo of it. There it is. And we'll make it a bit bigger. Oh, probably too big, but anyway. See this photo. If you're familiar with the Amityville horror bullshit, the photo here was said to have been taken while they were there. I think it was a static camera took the photo of one of the proposed, they think it's the 9-year-old boy that was murdered, right? Kenny talks about this too, and he really did a great deep dive into it. So maybe watch his episode when I get off shortly. But if you have a look at that picture, you'll see that the face and what the ghost is wearing. The ghost is wearing a plaid shirt. You can quite clearly see it. Over here in Australia, we call it a farmer Fred shirt, but he's wearing a plaid shirt, right? He's got a kind of buttony nose, small, narrow mouth, cheeks, etc. Anyway, the guy's name is Paul Bartz on this side. That's Paul Bartz. Now, Paul Bartz worked with the Warrens. He was their assistant. Kenny said that he found out later he actually managed them as well. So there you go. But Paul was there when this photo was taken. And that photo of Paul, have I got another one? Oh, there is a picture of him there. Oh, there it is. There's a picture of him in the house that night. And you see he's wearing the plaid shirt. And have a look at his little button nose and his little narrow mouth, right? Now, Kenny, as I say, does a really good one for this one. Where is it? But if you have a look, so in my opinion, that is Paul Bartz. And later on, shortly, Paul Bartz has passed away, but shortly before he passed away, someone did contact him about that photo. And Paul said, yes, I was there that night, but he wouldn't say anything bad about the Warrens. So he didn't say, yes, it's me in the photo, but he didn't say, no, it's not me in the photo. His words were along the lines of, I was there that night, and I don't want to really comment on the photo. I liked the Warrens, so I don't want to say anything that might tarnish their name. So quite frankly, in my opinion, that's Paul in the photo. And go to Kenny's episode, watch it, because he does a side-by-side comparison. There's a better photo of Paul, which is probably the other one. Where is it? I've got all these. Oh, Amityville House. Anyway, my point is, watch Kenny's episode. It's good. And he really does do a very good deep dive into it. But if you do, it could even be that photo that Kenny used. He compares that face to the face of the little boy on the stairs. And yes, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. Oh, look, it's not my opinion. To me, it's truthful. Nothing ever happened in that house like that. The worst thing that ever happened in that house was the slaughter of that man's family. And I would dare say, given by the things that the people that live in the house now have said and before, nothing happens. So therefore, if there is life after death, or you can come back as a ghost, the DeFeos have decided to go to the other side and stay there. It's just a shame. For the DeFeo family, it's a shame that such a muckrake was made of it, just terrible. But anyway, excuse me. I'm just reading. Yes. So anyway, sorry, I'm just looking at my notes again to check I haven't missed anything to tell you. But that's my whole point too, Giselle, is that some people have died traumatically in places. Some people have died through illness and sickness, so probably gone reasonably peacefully. And my point is too, all houses up until around the 1950s, most places when you passed away, you did pass away at home, unless there was some reason you were in a hospital, which sometimes did happen. You would go to hospital and die there. But a lot of times people were kept comfortable until they passed away in their own bed, in their own house. And then the family would get the mortician to come, they'd bring the coffin, they'd set them up in the coffin in the parlour, which happened at the Sally house, for example. It was set up in the front of the house. Family and friends could come visit, give their last whatevers, and then the funeral took place a few days later from the house. You would generally leave from the house. And there's other instances where you left from the family, from the funeral home, like Julia Bulett in Virginia City. She was in the mortuary when she was taken for burial because she was a murder victim. So her body was taken away from the house where she was found. She didn't die naturally in her home. She wasn't laid out in her home for people to come visit. That was a tragedy. And so in some instances, yes, you were taken from the funeral home to your burial. But most cases back in the day, before the 50s, you were at home, laid out at home in your coffin and then taken. So every house, just about every house that would have been built before the 1950s has probably had a death in it. And that's the point. Just because that's happened, it doesn't mean there's a ghost there. You would hope, just as I hope my son Stephen, I hope the bloody hell he's not a ghost somewhere. I kind of hope that if there is a way, when you do pass away, if there is a way that he is somewhere else, can he keep an eye on his mum and his sisters and his brother and his children? I'd hope to think so. That would be marvellous. But I'd hate to think he's hanging around being a ghost. Just go, bub. Just go and do whatever you do on the other side and have fun, and I'll see you later. So I think everyone else feels that way about their family members. I don't think any of us wants our family members to be haunting somewhere. And I've got another theory on that anyway. Again, Kenny wouldn't agree with me on this one because I know Kenny doesn't believe in ghosts. But because of what happened that night with my son, and Kenny knows, I spoke to him about this, because of what happened the night and the time that he died, and then I did not find out until the next morning, so almost 12 hours later, I found out he had died. Because of what happened there, and because of a few odd things that I can't explain happened over the course of a couple of weeks after his death, I've got a theory. If there is a way that our consciousness passes out of our body at death and goes somewhere else, it seems to me, and I've spoken to a few others, and I'd be interested to hear what some of you guys might have to say on this subject, because I'm pretty sure a lot of you have lost people. I've got a theory that maybe the consciousness or whatever happens to us can only last a certain amount of weeks before no more, before it just can't happen anymore. Energy perhaps is lost, or perhaps just after a course of a couple of weeks, whatever was holding them or tethering them to the loved ones or the place dissipates and they can no longer do it anymore. Because I don't, in regard to my son, definitely for the first few weeks after he died, weird things were happening. Was it grief? Maybe. But it was weird. So now do weird things happen? No. Things happen that are strange and coincidental, but to do with Stephen? No. But could I say I've got a guardian angel on my shoulder? Maybe. So I don't know. I've got a theory. I reckon there's a time. There's just a time that after you pass, that's kind of it. You've got a certain amount of time to act and then nothing. And I'm not sure what a ghost is, or even if a ghost is real anymore. Because if that is true, then that means that there's been some separation, in that if someone's passed, they don't want to move on. They want to stay tethered. So I don't know, but I don't know that that's ghostly. I'm wondering if that's just something that could scientifically be proven at some point. I know there's a whole heap of other avenues to go down, that they believe the consciousness, with near-death experiences, which I've spoken about before, that the consciousness is separate to the body. But that did make me think of something, because when I get put to sleep to have an operation, I don't remember anything that happens when I wake up. So where's my consciousness then? If your consciousness can leave your body when you're dead and see things happening, then why, when you're under sedation, completely knocked out, why is your consciousness then not separate? Does that make sense? Anyway, never mind. On another thought, you're actually seeing my mind tick. So if I'm all over the place, imagine having a conversation with me. What's Heather say? When I die, I'm coming back to my unit. If Werner comes home with anyone I don't like, I'm poltergeisting the shit out of them. Absolutely. Firefly. I imagine they can do whatever they want when they pass. At least that's what I hope to with my son. Yeah, Firefly. I hope it's what they want. But I would hate to think of my son just floating around aimlessly checking in on us all. How boring's that? There has to be more exciting things to do on the other side, one would hope. Maybe it's another dimension we enter. That's another theory out there too, isn't it? So it is interesting. So I'm afraid I'm starting to go down the the Kenny Biddle path, in that, unlike Kenny just flat doesn't believe. But I think he's more skeptical, but he doesn't believe in ghosts. But that doesn't mean that perhaps one day if Kenny saw something he couldn't explain, his mind could be changed. Having said that, I used to believe in ghosts, but now I kind of, as in like, being able to haunt things and stuff. But now I'm more of the opinion that maybe not so much, because I can't understand why or how. Scientifically, it makes no sense to me, and that's why I'm looking in different ways. But do I believe that the people we love stay around for a little while? That's the thing that I falter on, because yes, I do. But that doesn't make them a ghost. That means that they're still tethered to you emotionally somehow. And could it be us that's creating it? I don't know. But I don't think so. And I know people here have lost children. So you probably, do you know what I mean? I don't know. Are ghosts real? I don't know. If I die, I'll come back and haunt you all, I promise. But yeah, hey Betty. Yes, Steph, that's what I'm thinking. But then you see people who have died on the table. That's why I was saying it. You hear near-death experiences of people being operated on in surgery. Now, they're knocked out. They're anesthetically knocked out, yet they'll die, and then they say they come out of their body and can look down upon their body and see everybody working on them. So that, I guess maybe that's the point. Maybe just being knocked out doesn't mean that your consciousness can leave your body. Maybe you actually have to be dead. I don't know. I'll find out one day. The annoying thing is, can't someone on the other side work out a way to, I mean, honestly, there has to be a way to sort of talk. Oh, I don't know. But my point is, that's why we do what we do. As paranormal investigators, that's what we're hoping to find, some way to contact the dead or the other side or what the hell ever it is on the other side. Like, and you have to wonder, why do we come to the planet? Why do we live? Why do we breathe? To learn as much as we do, become exceptionally wise generally. There's still some idiots out there, but generally, as we get older, we get a lot wiser. We learn lots of things. I think we sometimes become kinder. And why? If you're just going to die, like, that's the whole question. What's it all about? Why are we living to learn all this stuff and be so knowledgeable that by the time we take our last breath, we know a hell of a lot more than the youngsters do? Yet, where's all the knowledge go? It's very frustrating. If people knew how much I paid for my education, I want something for my money after I die. But, come back and help the grandkids with the homework when they're stuck. Oh, Maisie, thanks for that. It's also, did you get it off? Yeah, it's also, I'll be going soon because I might be boring you all. But yeah, when I finish, just go to the description. Oh, you can probably do it now, actually, if you're watching me on the screen. In the description below, there's a link to Kenny's episode, and I think you would enjoy it. He really did a good job. He really did. And there's an episode. I'll put that link now. I also watched, I like the Y Files. So where's my history? I did watch that one and the Y Files. Where is it? There it is. And I'll cut and paste, copy. I'll put it in here, but I'll also put it in the description when I hop off. That's the Y Files episode that I've just put a link to. But they talk about Amityville. Oh, what else does he talk about? He talks about the Warrens. Amityville. Oh, and you'll see a clip of the living doll on his. What else does he talk about? He talks about the Warrens in general, really. So you probably like that episode too. So that can give you something to watch tonight. 2 good episodes. I'd watch the Y Files first, maybe, and then watch the Kenny Biddle one. I reckon that's some good viewing for you guys tonight with a hot cocoa. Oh, thank you, Heather. Can you see that? I've got that in Virginia City. You can't see all the colours though. It's really bright purple and it's very pretty. Actually, it was given to me. It's a necklace, but I put it around there. And it's a little necklace, and you can't see. Can you? Oh, you can kind of see it. See all the little glittery things. It's so pretty. What's this one? TV show on now. Tracy Grimshaw. Do You Want to Live Forever on Channel 9? Very interesting. Only 4 episodes long. 2 have been shown. 2 to go. 4 couples. I don't want to live forever. And thanks for sending people away from my chat. Thanks, Dee. It's all right. It's only going to work for Aussies. But look, I'll probably end this now anyway because I've been rambling on. Yes. Oh, you're at the beach. Pop a link in for it, Jonathan, if you can. The beach. Which beach are you at? So yeah, but I'm. Oh, okay. I mean, you mean it's showing on Channel 9. I gotcha. It's okay. I've got to go anyway because I think I've bored everybody enough. Can I just get a little bit of feedback? How did everyone feel about how this episode went or this live went? Do you think you would prefer for me to put it in an episode format, or are you happy for me to talk about it in this way and take Q&A as I do it? Thank you, Giselle. I'm just going to try and do a few little short lives like this, like just an hour long every now and then when I come across something that I want to talk about. I will be talking about The Conjuring House next. That one's really, really interesting. Again, another BS everything. All right, but I'll talk about that later. I'll get all my stuff because I'm still listening to some interviews with Norma, the owner. I've spoken to Kenny about it. He's of the same thinking as me. What's hearsay? Do both. I suppose I could do like a little quick. Here's the facts. Like here's the facts, and then just put and maybe just a few minutes long, and then that way, if anyone wants to, what did Karen say about Amityville again? And it'd just be boom, 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 some facts with some pictures. That could do. That could work. Thank you, Heather, for that. Steph says, Steph says, I like the lives and they can always be played back later. Oh, well, that's true. That's true. Oh, thanks, Firefly. Yeah, so that's it for now. I've spoken just over an hour, but I think that gives you enough time. Do go, and I think that's what I would like to do too. Any episodes that I watch, like I've done a lot more. I've reading a book and all that sort of thing as well. But anything that I watch that I think is a good episode, when it's to do with what I'm talking about, I will always put the links down below, and then you can look at those episodes too. But definitely go watch those two, the Y-Files and Kenny Biddles. And make sure you put a comment and say Karen told us to watch it. So people know that I do share their stuff out. I do. And do go have a look at Heather's channel if you get a chance. Did you put up a link, Heather? Probably not. I'll do it now. I'll just pop a link to Heather's channel. Heather doesn't do so much ghost hunting as to go to places that she should bloody ghost hunt. They're pretty spooky. Heather does a lot of urban exploring, and how the hell she gets into the places she gets into boggles my brain. But she does. So here is the link. Where am I? Oh, did you? Oh, well, here it is again, Heather. Yeah, if you're interested. And again, tell Heather that you came from here if you go check anything out she does. All right, guys. Look, thank you so much. I'm glad you came in to say hello. I'm live again on Friday morning, my time, Thursday night, yours. What? Hang on. What's today? Today's Wednesday, so it must be Tuesday night in America. So Thursday night in America, Friday morning, Australia, I'll be with Raw Side Paranormal. She's going to come on and have a little chat to me. Again, only probably for about an hour. I don't want to bore everybody. And then, of course, the normal with Enzo on Sunday. So keep an eye out for that. And I will put together a few little factual things on Amityville for you if you want to do that or look back on this. And Maisie Rose, if you ever not contact me again and keep me up to date, I tell you what, if you're not bloody in trouble, I'll make it that you're in trouble. You scared everybody, but I'm glad you're okay. All right, and Heather, how are you feeling? Are you okay? You're over your flu? Did the antibiotics help? I'm just seeing Jennifer. All right, look, thank you, everybody. And Crow's probably gone now. He's bored with listening to me. I think Joe's disappeared as well. But anyway, go check out what Joe's doing too with this Haunted Hill House thing. I do believe he's going to put a pretty good episode together for you all. And yes, some stuff has come to hand that proves a few porky pies, as we'd say. So, no one likes to be called out as telling lies, putting stuff together that's not true. But at the end of the day, don't do it. Then you won't get called out, will you? Just tell the truth. It's that simple. All right, I'm going. Love to you all. Sorry you had to listen to Muffin snore. I'm going to go and do some gardening. First, though, it's 11:15. I'm going to make myself a sandwich and a cup of tea. And then I'm going to do some gardening. And then I'm going to take Muffin to the vet to get her nails done. And then that's it for today. I'm just going to relax. I love you loads, and hopefully I'll see you on Thursday night, your time, for a chat with Rawside Paranormal. And be good, look after yourself, and Heather, get better, and Maisie, behave yourself. And thanks for calling in and saying hi, everybody. Bye. See you.